Please say your name, followed by the pound key.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Maybe 80 mile an hour.
Are we ready? Say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to approve the minutes and the agenda. Second motion. Motion from Stenzer and a second from Derby to approve minutes and agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, discussion of possible action regarding COVID-19 policies.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good morning, how are you?
Healthy.
Good. That's good. Good. Do you have any questions or anything? Have you guys, I can tell you in Winnebago County right now that we have tested 84, 51 have recovered. So we have a 33 active cases right now. I thought I'd throw Hancock in there since we're close to them and with school starting and everything. They've tested 122. They've recovered 107, and so they have 15 active. So with that 14 days for the school, Winnebago is at 6% and Hancock is at 8%.
Sounded like from Andy's report that the trend right now is the percentage active is getting less. Right up until school starts.
Yep.
I don't think we have anything else
Yeah,
here.
I assume just go ahead, status quo.
Alrighty. Well, if you guys have any questions later on, we do have, like I said last week, our webinars always follow after this. And nothing was new last week. Just handed out the guidelines for the schools and stuff. In this, and we have a college in town. And we have another one today again. So that's kind of about all I know, really. We're just doing status quo too and still doing our precautions and sanitizing and 6 feet distance.
You track the regular flu?
No, we have that I know of.
Okay. I was just wondering how that compared.
Yeah, flu season is just around the corner. We're getting ready for that. We have not gotten our flu in, but we have had calls. So.
Just curious.
Alrighty.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Yep. Have a good day.
All right, number 3, consider for approval agreement and resolution with Northeast Iowa Local Workforce Area.
Do you have a copy of it?
Mm-hmm.
Julie
Has left.
Is this something that you can explain, Terry, as to what this
Well,
is?
this is the workforce development area agreement.
This is a big change where we're all throwing
Right. I guess they had sent it all to all the county attorneys to review through the drafting process. This is like draft 6 or something.
Our county attorney's okay with it.
Guess I don't.
Most everybody was. Is there an email on this or something? I don't remember.
Probably.
It's a lot to read for now.
No, you would have got it.
Oh, yeah. I just
It's one of those rubber stamp.
Yeah, I'll
Well,
make
there's places to sign though.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Towards
Since
the
you're on
back,
it,
there's
you
a,
wanna make the motion on it?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
And a motion from Derby. Motion from Stenger and a second from Derby, to approve the resolution of Northeast Iowa local workforce area. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's got a place for the chairman of the county board of supervisors chairperson. Must be there then, huh?
no, follow the resolution.
So,
There's for each county.
That one, ISG is sponsoring one of those workshops up in Minnesota.
Okay,
Did you want to read it, or look at it? You've already seen it.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. You need to sign those, I don't know if you need to stick it anymore.
I suppose it wouldn't hurt, huh?
we didn't put that action date, it's actually-
He stamped it. Perfect, thank you.
Okay, and discussion regarding wind turbines. What were we waiting for? There was something last
We were gonna
week.
find out from Matt Duvet, he was supposed to be into the office last Tuesday or Wednesday, about what the process was gonna be. Carla's gone, so
Yeah, he was in, I don't know if they ever talked about anything, but.
This isn't a hurry. No. We'll just put it on there for next week then. David Peterson, Sheriff, to discuss personnel matters. Sounds official when it says David.
Well, Carla called and talked to Mike Galloway for me, and I would like to create another position in the jail, whether we call it a sergeant or a lead person or whatever, but somebody between the jail administrator and the jail staff that can take over if the jail administrator is gone. And this came to light when Tom Lopez passed away and Steve was gone for a week. There really wasn't anybody in charge there. So what we'd like to do is create a sergeant's slot and appoint somebody as sergeant.
now would there have to be compensation for that position?
There would be compensation for it, yeah.
But you're not, are you hiring another person or?
No, we
You're
would
just
promote.
gonna appoint someone to have this responsibility?
Correct.
I guess,
That's up to you.
Well, and I thought so too, but Mike said that it should go through the board.
Really?
That's what he said.
I-
That's what Carlos said.
in my opinion, yeah, it's good to have that, so when you do have somebody leave, you probably have a better idea who you wanna put into that.
Yeah, and then this person would take over, this person would be the training officer and things like that back there also. Honestly, I thought it was my decision also, but Mike said that it should be,
Did you say why?
he did.
I think it's because of a title maybe, and it might have something to do with their union.
Creating a position?
That's union. So does it have to be, I mean, because isn't it identified in the union contract that at this level you're this level you're this, and this level you're this, but it creates one more level in there?
You know, I think The union has to do with, the ability to hire and fire. And
Okay,
that, in this position, would only be under extreme circumstance with that.
yeah.
Fine with me.
Yeah, I don't think,
And then you just post it the normal.
Well, that's something you apply for?
I think that we would have to do that, yeah.
Really? I suppose there could be a lot of people who may want the position. So you gotta get. Does that automatically put them at 85% then?
No,
No.
no, it would probably, the way I'm thinking about it is it would be halfway between what the jail staff is making and what the administrator is making.
I kind of analogize it like Mark Kroll's old position. It was somewhere between Martin and the rest of the staff. He was kind of the lead person for the crew.
And I don't know that we would have to post it, Chris.
I don't know.
If we,
If you're doing it from internally.
from within, I don't think it has to be posted.
Yeah, I was just pondering that myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whether you would
I
have to
have-
ask, because everybody that's gonna be qualified for the job is already there.
Right.
And they're all gonna know it just by the word
Yeah.
of mouth in the jail, so
Ask Kelsey, get her
Yeah,
opinion.
I can do that.
my guess would be not. But then sometimes you get surprised.
I would think though that you,
Legal.
somehow you have to know who would like to interview for it.
Well,
It has to be posted there at least.
when Steve was gone, everybody contacted one particular person,
Oh, okay.
and asked them for, how to do this or advice or, what do you think we should do here? So I think just by their attitudes, they're ready to, have somebody there, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, I
That
do.
makes sense?
Based upon need.
They've already decided amongst
Amongst
themselves.
themselves, yeah.
So Galloway said, we need to make a motion, or, we need to put that in the minutes?
He said that it should be brought up to you guys.
Just brought up.
There's
I don't
no-
care.
It's not actionable today.
There's no action on it, so it's just, you come here and we give you our blessing.
We're not gonna resist it.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
all right. And Scott is gone, he gave a little report in an email yesterday, I guess.
Did.
I did have, I could call him later, but, up on the Scarville Blacktop, Howard Laugan had Jerry Rugness, this is under drainage, but it's in the roads,
Right, and I told Howard to go downstairs
yeah.
because Howard doesn't feel like they need to pay the bill because it's in the road ditch. And I tried explaining how the rest of the county, if the district tile is in the road ditch, the district pays for it. Because that tile could have been there before the road.
What they wrote or rooted, was that going across the road?
I don't recall,
That's the way
because
you
I didn't
described it to
know
me.
anything about it, because it was a trustee drain.
Right.
So I don't know exactly what the work was done, so that's why I told him to go downstairs.
I know we have some instances where the road ditch is a dredge ditch.
Right.
We have some that are actually running right down the ditch
Yep,
tile lines.
we do.
Is that right?
Yep. I have one that wants to get work done in Mount Valley, and it is in the road ditch.
So when you get 1 mile north of 69, 1.25 miles north of 69 on the Scarville Blacktop, on the right side, that trustee drain, lat 5A goes in the road ditch, then crosses the road and goes on. And it's that 5A that they were struggling with it working.
And where it crosses the road is where the problem
Sounds like they
was.
had to hire somebody to rotor root it.
They did, and that was Rogness. Yeah,
Maybe that would be some gray area where it turns and crosses, then that might be secondary roads.
and then I feel Rogness would need to separate the bill
Right.
and
Yeah,
send secondary roads the portion under the road, and the district the rest. And that's why I told Howard to go downstairs, because I figured he and Scott could work that out.
I'll call Scott after the meeting
Okay,
and talk to him about it, and then call Howard and
yeah,
let him know what I found out.
okay. Because in an instance like that, I didn't feel like I could make a decision. It's a trustee drain, it's his decision.
Right.
I was just giving him guidance on
The county road.
what we do in other circumstances, you know, if it's in the road that the district pays for it. So,
And some of the, if there's damage in that lateral, something could have happened during the road construction. Could be widening the shoulders.
mm-hmm,
That's what happened on that other road too.
okay.
Intakes got covered up. So it happens.
I had one that, they were convinced that there was the road construction, and it turned out to be up on the other end of the private tunnels.
That's all I had for roads.
Okay, we'll move on to auditor's office, we'll discuss drainage matters.
And I don't have anything that's not on here.
Everything either, Mike?
I did mention just about DD 18 lat 11, that's the one where we have the railroad and the road boring, and we ran into the sugar sand. And we talked to you about having someone come in and do some soils testing. They did, last week they got in there and they bored some holes to figure out where we could maybe move a little bit and avoid some of that sand. We're supposed to be getting that summary this week. We talked to them just again yesterday on getting that to us. So we're hoping we can move maybe 50, 75 feet and still do the boring fine. Otherwise, there's other methods to do the boring, and the contractors talked to some people about that, but he's hoping that the soils are good enough, moving a little bit, that he can still use the same guy and do the boring. So the road itself, if we can't avoid that problem, we'll be looking to get permission to open cut it. We just did that with Palo Alto County yesterday on one. Just been having a rash of sand issues on these borings. B&B, the contractor on these jobs, he feels like he's been snake bit because this is the third one in a row where they've had to do something different than planned.
So for this boring, would they put a sleeve and a pipe inside a sleeve?
No, we're just doing a steel casing pipe, and that's going to be the carrier pipe. We figure that has a 50 to 100 year life when it's underground like that. So that's been working out just fine. And then we do a real good connection. There's a special connection that's become available in recent years. That's a very rough, tough material. Wraps the pipe, it sticks, and then you put stainless steel clamps on it. Their demonstration on that material is that, I saw it years ago, they put two dissimilar pipes together and then do this wrap, and then they hold the joint, these two pipe up in the air with a big front end loader and shake it and rattle it and everything else, and it stays together. So it's...
So it works like a Fernco.
Yeah, a lot like that, a little more flexibility in it to shape it to the pipe. Yeah, a lot like that, just not as heavy a material, more flexible. Yeah, it's worked out real well.
I figured you'd understand Fernco couplings.
Yeah, thank you for giving me credit for that. So we're hoping to hear something this week on that and being able to move that. It's worked out well that the same contractor has 18 lat 11 and DD 11, so he can just kind of go back and forth depending on the conditions he's hitting. So
I didn't go by there recently on 11. How far did they get so far? Are they half mile there yet?
a little over. They're at station 34.
I mean, into that one section there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
they are?
They're almost to where we get the corner. We cut the corner.
Through Larry's land?
Yeah. Yep. They're hoping to get there today. They got about 300 feet yesterday. It looks so good.
It does look good.
They're concerned about the sand though. We are too. We had them do some temporary seeding a couple weeks ago. We're now into the allowable seeding period, so yet the end of this week or early next week, they're gonna put on some permanent seeding. They feel they can hold even that sandy material if they get that seeding down, so. Hopefully no big storms before that's accomplished.
On DD1, you have those two sloughs. When I look from Highway 69 to the southeast, there's one area, it looks like it's sloughed on the northeast bank.
Okay,
You go up and look at that,
okay,
you can just see the water going around it.
okay.
So when they're doing that, they should probably get that one, because that's towards the bottom, it's gonna hold everything up.
Yeah, so you look from 69, what direction?
Towards the river.
Okay. So it's on the east side?
Northeast, well, it goes at an angle.
Yeah, it's at
northeast.
Okay. We'll get eyes on it. We have been talking with NRCS and FSA. As of last week, they more or less gave a verbal approval, but they were gonna pass it on to their superior to get us something in writing. And they said it'd probably be the typical where they require it to be reseeded. But we're past the nesting period now, so Derek from our office is gonna meet with Larson out there, hopefully yet this week. He was gonna try and do it this week, to look at the site on Mindy Roper's ground.
Yeah.
That's a very big one. Since we're past the nesting season, that won't hold us up from going out there. That's what we were facing a month ago. The contractor on 11 has trucks arranged to haul material to the Soper washout. We just need the official word from FSA on it. So if we don't hear anything by tomorrow or Friday, we'll give them a call again. We're just so close to having all the details worked out. We just need to finish that up.
Speaking of them, what about mitigation in 11? You have any involvement in that at all?
Well, we typically put the summary together as far as acres that would need to be mitigated. What's his name?
Emerson called last week, and he sounds like they're going to let him not have to mitigate it,
Yes,
but he can't get that in writing. No one will give him that in writing. And so he's still nervous about it because
Sure.
what you say, what if that person leaves or you
Yeah.
get a new person? Because I think since this all started, there has been a new person, so he's had to do this again. So,
and we have it right in the plans that they need to seal the joints in the pipe when they go through his area. So it's covered in the bid to do that. And
So as long as it's solid pipe, non-perf pipe, and
Right.
you seal the joints, then it's not
That's
improving
the
this.
verbal word we have.
right,
Yes,
just no one can put it in writing.
yeah.
Yeah.
They changed office organization with NRCS and FSA considerably, so kind of a moving target who you get the
Because,
permission from.
Tom Thompson was asking me yesterday about it. I hadn't heard anything, so.
Yeah.
So how do we finish the rest of the people's mitigating?
We have a report we'll submit for that,
Okay,
and then I should just get that to you.
right. And then the board still you have to decide which route you're going to do. Whether the district pays it, or the district pays half, or the landowners pay.
Yeah.
So,
And it's usually significant cost. I don't remember the acres on this one.
Other than Emerson's, I
Not too
don't
bad.
think it was that bad. I
Yeah, I
don't
know
recall
Tom
either.
had some in that one corner
Yeah,
of the,
yeah. I would have to look it up.
Sure. Occasionally, we have a landowner that's not willing to ask for the determination. It's their issue if they hold that stance because the project is going forward. So they either mitigate or they face serious consequences financially.
that's all I had for questions.
minutes yet. Anything for open forum?
Yeah, I guess this can go for open forum. We got a problem on the Rice Lake, Dave's familiar with it, on the corner right by Isaac Walton Lake. Brush has really encroached on the road.
Yeah, we talked about this before. Huh?
Okay. Well, the DNR says we can't do anything, but Harris told me that Rice Lake owns the land. Now, we're gonna have to figure that out. But, you wanna say anything about that corner?
Well, yeah, it is a bad corner. The visibility is horrible there. And I think the big concern out there is, you know, we get a lot of people walking out there. And Harris and I talked the other day on the phone, and he told me also that they own the land. The Rice Lake owns the land, but he said DNR owns land where the golf course is. And he said at one time there was a verbal agreement to swap that land, but it's never been recorded anyplace or anything else. And his concern is if they go in there and clean it up, then DNR will be vindictive and lose part of the golf course. That's what his concern is, the way he explained to me anyway.
So, I don't know if we wanna, as supervisors, pursue it, or, I think we should. It definitely is a road hazard.
So we would probably start with the person out to Pilot Nom, aren't they in charge of the?
Well, that's who we're having the brouhaha with,
And if we're not getting anywhere there,
which you won't.
I'd be willing to go right to Kayla, the director. I mean, I've met with her, she's really nice, she's always looking for, kind of like Mr. Landy was. He always wanted to do it right by the people.
If you know her, would you just go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
It's gone too far with this guy. This guy is an absolute jerk.
What's his issue against it?
He doesn't give one. He doesn't give anything. He just says, you're not doing it. That's all. He says, you're not
So
doing
I
it.
guess,
So is trees more important than human life?
And their brush. I
and
mean,
we're
they're-
kind of
Well, yeah,
caught,
it's not even, yeah.
we're kind of caught in the middle because it is a road, but it belongs to, it never got transferred to the road department.
But I would still think we have an easement. I'd still
Yeah,
think.
you gotta have an easement. to
But,
start.
yeah, he never found any
When I
documents.
talked to Mark about it, Mark Johnson, he said that it's county property, the road is county up until you get to the state park, and then there's whatever the frontage is on that state park, whether it be 100 feet or whatever, that belongs to the state, and then it
The
goes,
road itself.
yep, and then it goes back to county. That's what Mark said.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just the section where the open park is, or where the trees are?
No, it belongs to the county all the way around those curves and everything till you get to the park.
Right across from 18.
Whatever, I don't know.
AT&T officer.
I'm not, always behind Sesker's place, or not Sesker,
Sherman.
Sherman's. So it's like 100 feet of frontage
Okay.
where that park is, and then it goes back to county.
Well, he let it know, he known to Harris that, if he caught golf cars driving on that, he was gonna ticket him on the road there. So, this guy is something else. I haven't talked.
Do you know what his name is? I haven't. They said he used to be a conservation officer in this area.
Yeah, he took, well, when Bowman retired, he was an conservation officer.
So I probably met him somewhere along the way.
His name's Mike Strausser.
Oh, I haven't met him.
Well, if you would talk to her, that it probably will alleviate a lot of problems. Yes. Okay.
I just don't understand that one.
Because Landy went right out to the park and he looked, and something got done with the shelter house. And I think that's what we need to do, is just go to the top and try to mitigate the problem.
Well, here's the kind of guy he is. Every year, John Kingland and, I don't know, his buddy, they chop wood and then put it in the shelter house for people to use. Just do it, just do it. He took all the wood and brought it down to our city. So, anyway, all right, go talk to her.
I'll see if I can find out.
Well, I like reasonable people. Okay, 9:30 a.m., public hearing for DD 11 main tile improvement project easement purchase.
I'm going to be giving you two sheets. This first one is for the tile portion of the project. We have two categories of right-of-way. We have the permanent right-of-way where the tile itself is going. We usually make that 30 feet, so that is assigned. We also then have temporary right-of-way, and that's to get the project built. We obviously disturb a considerable area outside the actual pipe location, just piling dirt, backfilling, setting the pipe before they use them. So we have those two categories. You here for that?
Yep.
You want to look at that? So we summarize the area. Looking at that sheet, you can see that what we allowed per acre on these. The permanent right-of-way, we put $2,500 an acre. What I do is there's a professional appraiser from Humboldt County I've worked with for a number of years. He always said, usually what's safe is if you take a third to a fourth of the value of the ground and assign that permanent easement, that's typically acceptable. So that's kind of how we've developed the $2,500 an acre for the permanent. And then the temporary is basically because there's some compaction, disturbance, whatever. It's a lesser cost per acre, but that is to help cover several years of some crop effect. So that's $1,250. So that's the tile portion of the job. Now, the reason I'm giving you these and not just having you use the old ones, we changed to pipe on the by the hog barn. So ends up there's less cost involved when you go with pipe as far as easements. With this, the ditch part of it, you're actually taking land out of production. So you're in essence buying that right of way. That we have at $8,000 an acre. We did review this with the appraisers. They felt this was very fair. It's easy to lose track of what land's selling for, and there's so many different circumstances with land that can affect the price. Myself and the appraisers felt the 8,000 was an acceptable number. With the ditch, we also need access along the sides of the ditch. So that's the second category of easement, is that access right of way. Now we put a 2,000 an acre, and then we also need some extra room to do the initial leveling of the spoil. So that's the third category, the temporary leveling right of way. And now we just put at $500 an acre, not nearly the effect as digging on it. We're running all the equipment on it all the time. So the change that we made was
Before we get too far,
yeah.
did we open the public hearing?
Oh,
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the E11 main tile improvement project easement purchase.
Second.
motion Gary and second Stenger to open a public hearing for DD 11 main tile improvement project easement. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Well,
Details I don't
read it and then,
Otherwise, they wouldn't have a chance to speak.
yeah.
The change we've made is that Summit Pork land now appears on the tile page, the first page I gave you, and no longer appears on the ditch right-of-way one. In essence, what that did is it reduced the cost of the easements, I believe it was $3,504, by changing them over to a lesser easement. It saved a few bucks. So the payment to them will go down and the project cost will go down that amount.
Could I interject there since I think we chatted about that? I would like to change the end of that ditch, end it a little sooner. That would also change that easement.
Yeah, and that's a good point, and I talked to Terry a little bit about it, and before we talked, last week, the contractor and us talked about it, where it's so deep near the west end of the ditch.
It's gonna be really sandy too.
Yes,
Yeah,
and they're
sand.
hitting so much sand. We're very concerned about stabilizing those slopes. I hope you get a chance to get out there and see it. Yeah, they've done a really good job. We're now into the acceptable seeding period, so they're gonna probably do some permanent seeding. I'm hoping yet this week. If not, it'll be next week. Lakeside is contracted to do that. They feel they can hold those banks if they get it established. There's some fast-growing material in the seed mixture they're using to try and get it green as soon as possible. I just talked to the contractor this morning about running some more sub-drain. There's an area with private tile coming in from the north, just east of where he's working right now. Places like that scare us because it's sand and it can get into the ditch and start islands in the ditch immediately. We want to get away from that.
So you're gonna be looking at this portion he's talking about in that hill and coming up with a possible remedy for that?
Yes. We talked a little about it. There's a tile that comes in from the north near that area.
Lateral.
And yes, it's a 10-inch pipe. The thing to do to not have to increase the size of the tile main is to run that lateral over to the open ditch. And you mentioned the possibility of doing that.
We would do that.
Yeah, that would help. If we had to jump to 60-inch instead of 54, it would increase the cost a lot. But where we're able to stay with the 54-inch by running that over, we feel strongly that's the way to go. It eliminate future maintenance of that deep portion of the ditch. It'll lessen the amount of ditch that is real deep. It saves right-of-way, which we saw right here. We'll do the same thing. We'll adjust, we'll submit an amendment to that as long as we go forward with that. The contractor is a little concerned as far as getting pipe, but the extra pipe shouldn't make a difference. It's just delivery is starting to be a problem on pipe. He's calling the supplier again today. He told me on the phone yesterday he felt fortunate because he got the phone number of the lady who was in charge of the actual distribution and load out of the pipe, and so he can talk to somebody other than the salesman. The salesman doesn't even answer his phone anymore when he calls, so.
Is that 10-inch on the east or west side?
Well, that's where we end up almost going east-west with the new ditch,
Yeah.
and it comes in kind of the north.
Comes in from the north.
Yeah,
It drains up to the highway there,
Yeah,
10-inch.
I'm a little confused.
Show you the map.
So
So ultimately, we
There's
should
existing
continue
ditch,
this
and
hearing,
we did open ditch all the way up.
that's probably true.
Plan to come up.
Chris.
because we would amend this anyway, so we should just
Lateral
continue
here.
it. And I can
Also,
send
it's on
out
the white east side.
a new one
Here's
when we
South
do.
side of the highway, goes up to the highway.
Here's the
Is that fine? Because I don't know,
Lawrence?
like today, I don't know.
Yeah, they're right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, okay.
Where is the actual ditch going now? Because I haven't been updated at all.
That hasn't changed.
Are they, well, it was still up in the air whether you were gonna cut the northeast quarter, whether you were gonna come across the end of that farm and cut off the corner of the farm, or if it was gonna extend on.
We got that moved, I'm just sure we did.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen an updated map.
I don't have that.
Do you have it, Terry, on your map?
Not the final.
I can tell you we staked it to that corner, and he's right at that corner now.
Yeah, I know they'd have to be down close to that corner.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he hopes to get just around it by.
So you actually didn't cut the corner of that farm off down?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Did you cut just enough to not leave any then, or does
Right.
it go through his corner?
Well, we missed the,
Well,
The ditch is
they
in
called
the
and they asked about
Ditch
taking
is
the
in the
rock
corner.
pile, but Brenner said down there.
And they brought that up, and then they.
So basically, they're just gonna come and cut the corner of the corner of the farm off with the ditch.
So they're not gonna do that?
They're not gonna do the big angle where you lose
No.
3, 4, 5 acres.
No, the blue is what they're doing.
Okay.
They
Okay.
were asking permission to move the rocks, so obviously they're going up there.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't
So
know.
that's
They
what
He
called
said
it.
there was a huge rock pile right
The
there.
red one.
So-
That was the old one. Okay, I had not received an updated.
Okay, this is what went out in the bids,
Okay.
so that's what they bid on.
So that was in the bid package to
And I
redesign.
don't.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I think it gets a little of the corner, but it doesn't cut any off.
Yeah.
Is what ends up happening.
So are we gonna want to continue this hearing until next week so we can,
I believe it may be
Yeah.
longer than next week though,
okay.
because by the time we have to figure out pipe and all of that, don't you think? I think
Yeah,
that's too
that's
soon
not
to be
gonna hurt
next week.
anything. Right,
So we don't have to send notice if we just continue.
I
Right.
did say to these gentlemen, because it's so few landowners, I will send out a new sheet.
Okay.
So I don't mind doing that. And that way they would have the new date for it. Because we don't have to go 40 days out or anything like that if we continue it, so.
yeah, there's no time limit or day limit or anything.
So are we looking at maybe 2 weeks or, I don't think we can go indefinitely, can we?
No,
No, but whatever Rick feels comfortable doing.
And
Yeah,
gives you
2
time
weeks.
to send it out.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think.
I'm not planning any big vacations.
We do have a completion hearing the 25th.
Somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm thinking I can send somebody else to that one though, probably. I'm sure I can.
But basically, this is on a part that we can keep continuing the project. If you get this figured out in the next week or so,
Mhm.
we can just put this in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, sure,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It won't take a lot to figure this out,
It won't
actually.
stop the project. It's
No.
just-
Mm-mm.
That's just the formalities of the.
It's just getting the exact numbers and dollars and
Yes.
replacing it.
Yes,
Are you guys okay with that? We just continue?
And that'll give me a
Fine
week
with
to
me.
get them the information, so they had time to process it too and ask any questions.
So that'd be the day after Labor Day.
Okay. I don't have it.
So just for my picture in my mind, this pipe is being extended west on the west side of the road because of the sand.
we're,
I'm not. I didn't
no,
follow.
we're actually, they got it shaped, okay, the
I
first
know what it
road.
looks like, I've been out there.
Okay, the first road we went through, it was a ditch from there west,
Right,
almost to the next road.
Yep.
So at the west end of what was planned for the open ditch, we're gonna replace that 700 or 800 feet with pipe.
oh, okay.
So I probably didn't get you the right spot.
54-inch pipe.
54, yeah.
So we're ending the ditch project sooner than we thought?
There you go.
Or are we going ditch, pipe,
Just
ditch?
before the hill then?
Yes,
Okay.
'cause it
So we
gets
are
up-
ending it
yes,
sooner, okay.
yes. That is correct.
I didn't know if it was part of
I'm
something that.
delighted you
back
called.
to
We
ditch.
talked it over with the contractor, thought it was a great idea, just a little concern on the cost. You've got the majority of the cost in the project. You're in favor of it. I'm,
Well, it
Jumping
helps
on
us
the
too,
fence.
so the ditch doesn't cut clear across the farms.
Right.
Makes it easier.
absolutely, yep. So, that's good.
So what date did we decide?
What is that? You'd have to send the notice out the Friday before if it's the day after Labor Day.
Right. Mhm. Says-
Labor Day's not till the 7th.
September, oh, okay, so it'd be September 1st.
Is 9:30 okay with you guys? Did you want 9:15? I don't have anything set up for that late this year, so
Whatever you said.
Let's do it right away.
9:15,
Then we don't have to
9:10.
wait. Yeah.
9:05?
9:05.
I'm gonna let you guys decide.
I will make a motion to continue this public hearing until 9:05 on September 1st.
Second. Motion from Derby and second Stenger to continue the public hearing for DD 11 main tile improvement project until September 1st at 9:05. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we don't need to close.
So we don't, yeah, we just leave it open, I
Right.
guess.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
you're welcome, thank you.
Hey,
So that means we can talk amongst ourselves for the next, till September 1st, since the meeting's open.
No. But I did have one other thing to go back to drainage. I had a call this morning from someone, and evidently when a ditch was dug 100 years ago or whenever, they landlocked a landowner.
It's possible.
Okay, and I said, well, how have they been getting to it this whole time? Because now that, whatever it is that they've been going over isn't good anymore.
No, there was an access that deteriorated.
They made their own, or the current landowner believes that they made their own. He's not even for sure because it was so long ago. Well, now that needs replacing.
It's always been the landowners that do that.
Okay, I couldn't remember, and I didn't know if we
Like,
had,
you think back over here, the landowner had to put their own.
we would take it out, but they would put it in, right? Okay, I just wanted to reiterate that and make sure I was on the right path.
And, you know, equipment's gotten bigger, so back
I was
when you
just
could
gonna
take
say,
a
Brett made
B
it,
John Deere
yeah.
across it just fine.
Right.
When it was in good shape.
And I still think too, the engineer has to tell them what size of pipe to
Yes.
put back in, right?
Yep.
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you.
And usually that slows them down a little bit.
People probably get nervous when they drive their $700,000 combine and have to cross that bridge.
That's where you're almost better off just selling that little parcel of land to somebody else that's adjacent to it.
Yeah.
But if it's landlocked, no one is.
Landlocked.
Well, no,
I mean,
but you
it's
can get out
supposed
from the other direction. There's a lot of people that own a little chunk on the other side.
Oh, I
They
see
need
what
a
you're
bridge
saying.
to get to,
Mhm.
but this guy here, he owned it, it'd be part of his other field, they might have to tear a fence line out.
Gotcha, I see.
It was like, before we moved this one, the one was willing to buy it from the other one, if that's where it was gonna be.
Yeah.
He'd buy that rock pile.
I never got out there to see how big it was, but the contractor said it was a big pile of rocks.
Yeah, we have rocks.
There's markets for rocks.
Yes, there is. My brother was in the landscaping business for years, Clear Lake, yeah. Always getting requests for big rock.
Like, Mom's brother built a house on a lake down southeast of Des Moines. And the rock down there was gonna cost a fortune. Gee whiz. We got all kinds of rock around here, so I just went around shopping a little bit, and gee whiz, next thing you know, we were scooping up piles, and Kenny Krukenbecker loaded them in his trucks, hauled him 3 semi-loads down. He got 3 semi-loads down there for 1/3 of the cost of 2 dump truck loads down there.
I went to a farmer and asked, because there was some pretty nice looking rocks in the corner of the field. And, said, can I come and get those rocks, get them out of your way? Yeah, 10 cents a pound.
The Colbys were good enough to let me go shopping on their property. They had sorted theirs out, the small, the mediums, and the large.
Really?
That was kinda nice.
Well, right along Highway 9 there in Armstrong, you can see their rock piles there.
Oh,
What's their contractor out of there?
yeah,
Michelson?
yeah.
Yeah.
Michelson and Son.
You go rock shopping there, they've got them separated out.
Uh-huh. You're in the rock business.
Okay. We were in open forum, you got yours discussed there.
That's all we had for open forum
You
then?
guys wanted to see the manure things? It's good reading. Then we'll move on to number 10, consider for approval semi-monthly county claims.
I had two this time, the health insurance bill, I never got an email on it. And I looked finally at the website and there was the bill. So I wanted to get that paid, so I did that last week, plus today's.
I'll make a motion to approve the county claims.
I'll second that. A motion from Derby, second from Stenger to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, anything else? We stand adjourned.